Hello, listeners. It's Mallory Wilsey, Chief Producer of the Enrollify Network, and I want to take just a moment to tell you about another show on Enrollify that I know you'll love. Mastering the Next is a cutting-edge podcast exploring the future of graduate, online, and non-traditional education through the lens of technology and artificial intelligence. Staying competitive in the world of graduate student recruitment and enrollment means keeping up with the ever-evolving tech trends in higher ed. Join Dr. Ray Lutsky, VP of Strategic Partnerships at Element 451, as he explores what's next at the dynamic intersection of student recruitment and leading-edge technology. Each episode will explore future trends and the technologies shaping the academic landscape of the 21st century. Listeners will be equipped with strategies to meet the evolving needs of today's online and non-traditional learners. New episodes drop every other Friday, and you can subscribe to the show by visiting podcast.enrollify.org or just search Mastering the Next wherever you get your podcasts.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your Monday morning energizer covering insights and trends in higher ed marketing and enrollment. I'm Mallory Wilsey, bringing over 15 years of ed tech and marketing expertise to your earbuds.
And I'm Seth Odell, joining the Pulse with my own adventures from leading marketing at top universities to founding Kanahoma, one of the industry's fastest growing digital marketing agencies.
Each week, we bring you the kind of insider insights you typically only find over cocktails with your pals at a conference.
It's fast, it's fun, and it's designed for you, the busy higher ed professional.
You're not just listening to another podcast.
You're checking the pulse of higher education.
Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Welcome back to The Pulse. I am here live at the eduWeb Summit in Philadelphia, and sitting across from me is Rebecka Hall, who works for ODUGlobal as the Director of Web Innovation and Strategy. Rebecka, hi, how are you?
I'm well. Happy to be here.
You walked right into the door and right into this podcast room. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
I am honored. Well, are you doing a presentation?
I am. I'm doing a presentation on Thursday about thriving together, mastering the art of remote and hybrid leadership.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, but that's not what we're here to talk about today.
Don't we all?
So
That's why I have the presentation.
open invite on coming back onto a Pulse episode to talk about remote and hybrid leadership.
Absolutely.
This has been an interesting theme at multiple conferences I've been to this year, and I've done a couple different recordings on it. So, listeners, you can look forward to a future Rebecka Hall interview. But today, we are here to talk about program pages, which as we were leading up to this conversation, I mentioned how near and dear to my heart program pages are, having worked for an agency. And honestly, I do believe that, these are such critical pages for current and prospective students. It is where you are marketing your product. At the end of the day, higher ed is selling a product. It is the program. This is the space to do it. So, Rebecka, you're the expert. Talk to me about what makes a great program page.
Oh, wow. Okay. There are a couple of different components that definitely come into play because, as you mentioned, they're such a critical piece of content for higher education institutions, and especially for what I'm in, which is the online division of our university. They are even more critical. So we really want to bring together not only the information that we have investigated and learned about our users, the data that we've collected, so the information we know they're looking for, such as job information or, what services are offered that will support them in this program and who's in this program, who's come from this program, what alumni have graduated here, what are alumni doing, how does the institution play a part in my program? All of these things It's a lot to try to fit on one page, right?
That's a lot of work for one page.
That's a lot of work. We're setting some high expectations, but we know that it can be done because there are some universities out there with these amazing academic program page ecosystems. And really, they've integrated it into their university and online presence in a way that you don't even think that you're looking at a program page, but you still have the brand and you still have the consistency that you need. So a user or a visitor or potential student who's visiting your site can go from one program to another. We want to connect those dots. We want them to know they have choices. So there are several things that come into play to get back to the original question on a program page, not only just highlighting and featuring that program and what's special about the program, but also that information that we know users are looking for, and presenting that in a way such as cost, where it's digestible and where it's visible and authentic. We don't need to sugarcoat the fact that you have to pay to go to an institution. At no point in time is that going to feel great to separate yourself. Just like if you were looking at a beauty brand situation, like it doesn't feel good to separate yourself from money. And so we need to look at what that value add is. What is the return on investment? We were just discussing it earlier. This ROI piece that's much larger than just an exchange. You're investing in someone's future. You're investing in someone's alumni network. There's so many things happening as a result of the decision that they're making to come to your institution. This is that stepping stone. This is the starting block. And you really want to try to that relationship by giving them as much information up front as possible, while also creating a story and a narrative that feels authentic to your institution.
A lot of times, prospective students aren't necessarily going to Google and just typing the name of your institution and that particular program into the search bar. They're searching for the problem that they're having or the future job that they're looking for. So I understand that these program pages need to be optimized to contain that type of content. They need to be findable. What are some strategies that you've employed around that?
Absolutely. So we certainly work SEO into our strategy at the ground level. And that is one particular side of things. On top of that, we employ things like what we would call helpful resources for students who are looking, how do I use my bachelor's degree? That's content people need. And so we create that content and we couple that with specific bachelor's degrees where we see users coming in looking for certain things. And so we've developed some evergreen content based on that helps our page ecosystem be more findable for users. That's one side of things. There's certainly several other steps that we take as well. So that SEO piece, right? We've employed AI-driven technology with our partners at Bright Edge called Autopilot that recommends additional program pages or programs that a user might be interested based on their traffic and what they've seen. And of course, the vast amount of data that Autopilot is able to access. So that's more technical side of what we've kind of implemented. And again, there's twofold. So I like to bring up both sides of things because there are some very technical things associated with SEO and program pages. And then there's the let's give users what they need and want. And while they're there and they're looking at those things they need and want, maybe they stumble on the program of their dreams and we just connect all the dots at one time. So
I've heard you call the strategy like developing an ecosystem of pages.
Well, I think the word's being used across the board right now, right? So there's several ways you can put it, but I've heard it, and I don't know if it was Carnegie. I don't know who it was exactly that said the page ecosystem very recently I heard the word, but it is a very good word. And it really is about how do you connect a program page with all the service pages that for a student, so cost, aid, all of those things connected together. But also, how do you connect that with authoritative information such as the catalog, the thing that has to be there that we all have to have and we all have to be able to reference in a way, but not live in it. And so those types of things, connecting all that together, I call it like a 360 relationship, a circular relationship in which a program page complements a what I would call a college or department page, which really focuses in on things that might not be on the program page, but maybe, capstone projects for students in this program. What are the faculty doing? A more in-depth look at that type of content. And then how does that complement getting back to the catalog? And the catalog gets to the program page and we go in this circle. And also it plays a part in creating this relationship of connectedness. So this ecosystem piece plays a part in how do we connect these pages with more than just other program pages? And what does that look like? That not only helps to support the page as far as bumping it up and making it visible and getting people to that page, but it also helps the user to get to the things that they need without overwhelming them with too many things in one place or too much information, and then they can't get to the point of the page, which ultimately is whatever we've set, that goal, that request for information or that application that applies, so we can get them in our communications funnel and start talking to them soon.
As I've been listening to you, it strikes me. It strikes me that in this description of what makes for a good program page, there's been maybe a minimum of 10 different units on campus that are now referenced in a single program page, because you've got the registrar, you've got the program itself, you've got the Marcom team, the alumni team, the career services team, student support. Like, a prospective student is going to need information that is historically siloed in some of these units. So talk to me about getting this cross-campus buy-in. And maybe we're stumbling upon why higher ed hasn't mastered the program page.
We certainly are standing at the threshold of probably something that is difficult for all of us. And certainly this breaking down of silos is something that a lot of folks are focused on across a lot of young leadership is focused on across higher ed that I've heard. And it's exciting and it needs to happen. And I think we all agree on that. But it's
hard.
Yes, it is. Nothing's easy, and that certainly is not easy to do. But it is important to really have a champion and, related to academic program pages specifically. I've seen a lot of great partnerships with provosts, with higher level faculty members, really understanding when you walk into a room full of people who certainly understand that data is important, because I feel like it goes hand in hand. I was just having a chat about that earlier, that you walk in with the right numbers, you understand that you are creating something for them that's only going to improve their lives. It's only going to improve our numbers all together, and we are all on the same team. That really taking this approach helps to win that champion over. And then with that support, really leveraging that and going out, and I'm talking virtually, in person, whatever that looks like for lots of different people, going out and putting a face to that conversation, having discussions. I've sat in countless faculty members' offices, just talking them through, what this looks like, or chairs, or, even collections of chairs and deans, and talking through that. There's a lot of conversation that needs to happen. And sometimes it's as simple as having that, where they realize, look, we're in great hands. Like, let's do this. And it also is really important to, wherever you can, systematically approach this type of content in a way that makes it easier for your subject matter experts to give you that information.
Now, how are you ensuring it remains jargon-free, though? Because good SMEs... Right.
Absolutely. So that is where it comes into play of investing in your content team, investing in the people who are ultimately going to be that filter, making sure that you're creating brand champions and that people understand what our voice looks like. For our particular case, we are lucky enough, we actually have a great team. And then, of course, on top of that, we're utilizing AI. We're utilizing a brand GPT that's been trained by our amazing creative director. And so we kind of filter that through and take out some of that stuff and insert some of the brand in a lot more efficient way. And then, of course, at the end, you're really kind of putting that cherry on top by crafting that content in a way and putting that human touch on it. So we really have this relationship where we're working through kind of filtering that jargon down using multiple tools. And so at the end of the day, we've come up with some really great stuff.
Wow. Well, I'm going to put a stake in the ground. If there is one thing our listeners need to do if they are working on the web and content, it is like run, don't walk to your program pages, please. Audit them, fix them. They're important.
Show them love. That's how I kind of try to sell it.
Share this podcast with your boss if you need to get some support. Yeah, exactly. Rebecka, this has been so awesome. I'm so glad you started your summit with us. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Anything else to say on program pages? And where can our listeners find you if they want to connect with you after they hear this amazing interview?
Yeah. So, you've said most of the things that I need to say about program pages, which are they're a critical piece of content. And I have yet to be to either an eduWeb summit, a edWeb conference, even to the education side of DrupalCon. Like, there is not one time when I haven't discussed program pages with someone in the education field. They're so important. And so we really do, as a group, need to take care and really do some work in that space. Where you can find me. So I am on LinkedIn. So Rebecka-Hall. On LinkedIn. I also have previously presented on program pages with edWeb. So I believe in their library of accessible content from 2023 October. That is also a great overview of the journey that Old Dominion had with their program pages. And then lastly, you certainly can always email. So rhall@odu.edu. I'd love to connect with lots of people to talk about program pages.
Incredible. Well, enjoy the rest of the summit. Enjoy Philly. And listeners, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. The Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Podcast Network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.